here at Farpoint Farms. Today we're going to be checking out the Ancel X7. This is a really cool scan tool. I've had this thing about, well, it's almost coming up on a year mark now. Now I wanted to go ahead on the new channel here, well, it's not so new anymore, but on the channel here and go kind of in depth with this thing. It's a relatively inexpensive scan tool compared to some of the ones that are out there, but it is a pretty comprehensive scan tool. Comes with a nice user manual, and it is 40 pages all in English, which is nice. And it is a wireless tablet, so you're looking at an Android-based tablet here, and then you do have a separate VCI and cables for updating the VCI and all the rest, so we've gone in that. As far as the tool itself, tablet-wise, it's held up very well. You know, it passes the bounce test pretty good with this nice rubberized undercoating. On the back here, we do have our rear-facing camera. It's not the highest megapixel out there, I mean, but it's perfect for an inspection camera, and that's what its mainly purpose is. On this side, we have a USB, which is a great way to transfer files if needed, and then a power charging port, and then just, you know, on this side, we have just your typical volume up and down and power. I'll go ahead and turn it on. And one thing I love about this is it is an Android computer. I think it's Android 8. It might be 7. I can't remember now. It's been a while. But you get a nice splash screen. It's customizable, and I love the fact that this isn't locked. A lot of, excuse me, a lot of scan tools are like locked into the program, even though they may be Android-based. They're not, well, you just can't get to it. So this is pretty cool that this one here is something that you can get to the subsystem and add programs. And as you can see, I've added some stuff. So not only do we have the program that it comes with, but I've got an inspection paperwork here. I'll go ahead and unlock it. And so if you wanted to get in and see the other stuff here, there we go, right? So I have, you know, camera, Harbor Freight tools, I've got some radio, YouTube, Reddit, Shoutcast, paranormal, I've got all kinds of stuff there, but there's all data, vehicle inspection stuff, and even maps is on there. And there's other stuff. I mean, you can add as many. So if it's an Android app, chances are it will run on this. You can even watch movies and TV on it and whatnot. And so I really do like that, that it has all that availability to it. All right, then we'll go back home here, and I'm going to go back into the program. And there we go, back into the program. So as far as updates here, they do about 3 or 4 updates a month with this, so it's definitely supported, I would say. And now, you know, when we're looking at close to a year of ownership here, tablet-wise, the battery's held up well. When we get into it, updates are here, and it does have 2 ways of updating. I'll go ahead and log in there. And there have been some firmware updates for the VCI as well, so that's kind of nice that they're supporting that. And you can see some of the many programs that are available for this. It's pretty comprehensive as far as that goes. It covers most of your cars. Special function-wise, they also have updates for those. So we've got a couple of updates that have come along in there, injector coating, immobilizers. I mean, there's a lot. Some Mitsubishi hot functions. There's some good stuff in here, no doubt about that. Okay. All right, so as far as other programs here, we have our user stuff, we have our settings, we have our function list. Data playback, I can go back in here and watch videos. There's a Mitsubishi one from a while back. You can see as I hit play, our throttle move up and down, ignition advance, so on and so forth. These things are all, so if I take a test drive and I want to see what's happening, but I don't want to get into a wreck, seeing what's happening while it's happening, we have the ability to record. And you can see the date, that was 2/26/23, so getting close to a year ago. And then Data Manager, let's go in there, I'll show you that. So we have images, videos, diagnostic history. So we have a lot of stuff here that we can play back. Storage card, we started off with a 32 gig card, and we still have 10.4 of it left available. And so you can see I haven't saved a ton of stuff. So even with updates and a considerable amount of data saved from like freeze frames and whatnot, and vehicle history, you're not going to run out of space on this thing anytime soon. So I guess the rest of it, let me go and we'll go out to a car and we'll hook it up, and I'll show you the features and functions out there, because I think that is where most of you have come to see. So this is kind of a long-term review on this. I'm going to go through some of it. Most of what I'm going to best say about this thing is pretty good. Clearly it's not a pro level scan tool, but for a homeowner or a technician who is interested in having their own scan tool, this thing covers about 90% of the bases you're going to want. let's do it. Okay, so here we are in a car, 2005 Mitsubishi Outlander. You got charging voltage, which seems a bit high, but this car doesn't get driven a whole lot. Battery life, all the rest. Android based, so like I said, you can go in here and do a lot of stuff with that alone, but we're going to diagnose this car. Something you'll see that's new is VIN search, auto detect. So let's see if it can find the car. It's going to roll through and try to decode the car so we can find it automatically. This doesn't work on all cars. I'm going to be honest with you on that. A lot of European stuff, it just hits a wall. Asian stuff, it seems to have better luck with, so hopefully. All right, so it found the car, and of course I turned it off just for a second, and that's all it took. Found it, Mitsubishi version 21.2. It is a 2005 model. And we're going to go into diagnostics, and we have some choices. We can do quick test, which is going to roll through all the computers that are available. We have module select. In this case, I want to do a quick test. So it's going to read, and I will say, you know, if you're coming from a pro level, like something like a Snap-on Apollo or, you know, a Matco diagnostificator or whatever, you're probably going to say this takes a little longer than those. However, if you're moving up from something like an old Foxwell scan tool, or perhaps a my old scan tool, which was a OTC Genesis or Genesis Evo, you're going to find the times of this to be a little bit faster. So, you know, it has to do with cores. It's an Android computer underneath this, and I believe if they had you know, juiced it up with an 8-core, which is more common these days, this thing would be a little snappier. But yeah, it's still pretty quick when you get right down to it. About 2 minutes to do all of the systems. My old, well, it won't be. I'm sorry. My old OTC Genesis was about a 2-minute process. This one here usually gets it done in 60 to 90 seconds, depending on the car. Now, if you're looking at a BMW or something that just has a ton of subsystems, yeah, it's going to take a little longer. But a car like this, it's usually not too bad. Okay, so I timed that, and it took 95 seconds for that to happen. So I wouldn't call it the fastest scan tool on earth, but it certainly gets the job done. And it's saying we have some codes in our main ECU, so we'll go ahead and click on that, and it's going to communicate directly with the ECU, and let's see what we can come up with here. All right, so we have ECU identification, we have fault codes, we have actuator tests, we have data stream, and we have reading fault codes. Of course, I want to do that. Okay, it's saying there are no fault codes, which is good because there are no fault codes. I'm not sure why it gave us that. Okay, so what we'll go into then, since we don't have any actual codes, we could clear them if we did. But let's take a look at data stream here. And so, how about engine RPMs? Let's look at short-term fuel trim. Let's see here. Yeah, throttle position. I'm sorry, oxygen sensor. And throttle position switch. Okay, we'll go with that. And here we go. So current value engine speed, if I want to zoom in on this a little bit, you can see it reacting. Reaction time, again, more on the scale of a little, or well, I'd say probably a 50% increase in speed over an OTC Genesis compared to a 2024 model, you know, scan tool with 8 cores. You're definitely a little bit more sluggish than that, but nothing terrible. We have our short fuel trim here. Short-term fuel trim is perfect. We're seeing it do what it's supposed to do. We're seeing our air fuel sensor, which actually is sitting pretty high. If you look at our O2 sensor there it goes. She's starting to cycle now. So it's cycling between the two. And millivolts would be for our throttle position switch. If I want to look at that on a scale, and maybe I want to look at that on a scale, you can see that we do have the ability to graph, which is really nice. And of course, I can also record this data by hitting the record button. And we'll stop that. Yeah. And then we'll start the stream again if we want to. So this way we can record a document that doesn't include like sitting at a light or whatever it is we want to do there. When we're done, we can stop the record. And then we can also change the contrast around, so we can put it, if we wanted to, if we had a known good car, right? So that's when we take a pattern off of a car that works fine and compare it to one that does not work fine in this case. We can also generate a report. I'll go ahead and do that. It's creating a diagnostic report. And then if we want to, look at that, Farpoint Farms, Farpoint Restorations and Repairs, Farpoint Farm Survival, and then more information. Here's our Mitsubishi, and here's our live data, and that's it. So we can print that, or we can share that. That's pretty awesome. A good way of showing customers. Customers, you know, mechanics get a bad rap. And some of us, you know, unfortunately, there's mechanics out there that they're the reason we have a bad rap. So being able to show proof is always a nice way of giving the customer some feeling that, hey, look, we're doing a better job here. This is the truth. All right, so we'll get out of that. Now I've got the engine running on this, so actuator test, we do not want to turn any of these things on. Not something we really want to mess with while the car is running. If you're going to want to get in there and actuate stuff on and off, you're probably going to want to do that from start. We want to have the car off for that. Okay. All right, well, let's go in and see some other systems that we have here. All right, when we're back here in the main setup here, and we can look at, trying to think what other stuff we could get into that would give us some cool stuff going on here. So AC, let's take a look at airbags and see what we got going on in there. There might be something we can actuate. So rating data stream here, there's probably not going to be a ton, but we have driver seat airbag. We don't want to have that. Belt buckle switches we could look at. Elimination times, occupant weight. I don't know if I want to know that, but we can look at that. Current value is negative something or other in kilograms, so I'm not sure, probably because I'm already sitting on it, it's upset about that. Yeah, there it goes. You can see current value on and off. So it's just telling us, hey, does the passenger airbag need to deploy in a crash? And we know that our seat occupancy detection is working. So that's kind of cool. All right, we'll back out of that. Now, something else you can do with this, if you want to, you can record. Hey, I'm going to record everything that happens on the screen. So now I can make a video. You can see it start to record up here. And I can go into actuation. Do I want the lamp to come on? Yeah, sure. Let's see if we can get the lamp to come on here. Let's perform it, right? There it is. SRS lamp has lit up. So you can see, you know, we'll get that off. Having the ability to do bi-directional controls is pretty cool. When we're done recording something, we press stop. That's it. It saves it to our file, and we're out of here. So pretty nice. All right, let me get out of this altogether. And you can see here we've got, you know, immobilizer, cruise control, air conditioning, and electronic automatic transmission. That's about all this car has. Some cars, you know, have a lot of other stuff. The only one I'm not seeing here is I don't see airbag. So that's something. It doesn't always catch every system. Just something to be aware of. But we'll go ahead and get out of here. And I don't know what else you want me to show you. I guess that at the end of the day, what you're really wanting to know is this tool worth buying? I picked this up and it was less than $400, and I've had it for about a year and I've used it a bunch. I will say it doesn't work on every car, and it certainly is not the fastest scan tool out there. That being said, I might be a bit spoiled. I work on cars for a living, and so I'm kind of used to a higher level of performance out of my scan tools now. But if I were a homeowner, or like, you know, a do-it-yourselfer, if I had one make and model and I wanted to have a scan tool that allowed some bi-directional controls and maybe had a dual purpose, I could use this as a tablet. Well, then in that case, yes, I think that this tool would be a good buy. So I hope that this video helped you in your decision-making process. I'm not endorsing or not endorsing this product. I just wanted to show it to you. It's something that I've had. I actually bought it as a tablet. I wanted to have it as a tablet and wanted to play with the features and functions. I can say that they do still update it about every month or so. There's an update or two that happens. Not as common or frequent updates as some other makes and models out there, but certainly is not what we call abandonware, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's a pretty cool tool. I guess that'll do it, my friends. If you have questions about the Ancel X7, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll do my best to answer them. And if you like what you see, well, maybe you'll think about liking and subscribing. I'll see you next time. Take care.